Good evening, team. Welcome to my chart room. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember, everything you see here is not legal or financial or trading advice of any kind. It is just my mere opinion only for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I eat red crayons for breakfast, and you should too. But if you do, you're probably going to get a tummy ache. So remember, trading and eating red crayons is all at your own risk. Enjoy today. So welcome today, team. So the things I'm looking at, I'm going to show you what things I see on XRP and why I think that we're still going to have a volatile time before we hit some higher numbers. But I'm going to show you some numbers that are in my projections and what I think is going to happen. All right, team. So I'm looking at a chart from August 24th, which was yesterday, on XRP, and this is the 4-hour chart. These are numbers that I'm looking and I'm kind of expecting. Now, my entry was in this area here, so really all of this stuff doesn't really matter to me. However, I can understand if you are in a weaker position. For example, if you're just buying here at the top, then when we come down to these levels, it can be scary. But if we bought up here, it can be really as volatile as it needs to be before it comes up. As long as we're not really closing below this level of 0.0109,582, then it's very difficult to see a change in price behavior. And I'll explain that a little more later on. So this is where I'm expecting right now. I'm expecting prices to move from these current areas, which is on top of the wick support here. And you can't really see that on the 4-hour chart for the most part, but it does show up on the daily, which we'll get into in just a little bit. But remember the rule of the bigger fish. The bigger fish always eats the smaller fish. The bigger waves always cancel out a smaller wave. If there is a purpose of that wave, then you'll see it. A bigger wave can just drown out any smaller waves. Okay, so just remember that. So the first moves I expect is a moves up to this midpoint right here in this marked in orange. I expect prices to reject off of that line, and I'll show you more precisely when I get back to price. And then I expect this to come back down to around the bottom of this area right here, around 17806. Now I would need to do some more calculations as we come along. So this is pretty general lines, but these are things that I'm expecting for right now. And then I expect us to actually break that point to around $1.31, and then to come back down to these previous highs. And all of these lines will need to be recalculated, but it's going to look something like, if I were drawing those lines, we're going to come down to the 117 and then come to 136 and then come back to this area of 127 area. And then I believe we can go a little bit higher during that time to our next targets, which I'm going to reveal in this video. I do have some more things that can be a little bit of a challenge. So you need to see these numbers on XRP. As a reminder, overall, I do expect us to be getting to $12 to $13 XRP based on these projections. A key point in this time frame is this golden line here. This is a very critical point and time for price. And as long as we can stay above this gold line, hard closing above it, then we're pretty safe to break through some more barriers. But what are those barriers? Well, let's take a look. So as I've shown you in my previous videos, these areas here are very strong resistance areas that have now become support, as price is now sitting on top of these areas. First, it was sitting on the core line, and now we broke up and came back down. We are now sitting on the wick line. And you can see this wick line is very important. Yesterday, price came down and hard closed directly on that wick line. And we also came down on ultra high volume. Yet, if it was all selling, then how is today's candle with only 31 minutes left? How is that candle an up bar on high volume? The answer is that not all the activity in this red bar was actually selling at all. I believe that a lot of the activity in that bar was actually buying. And remember, buying must happen on red down bars. You'll remember from my video, $120 XRP, that I was speaking right during the middle of this down bar. And I was saying that I believe there was 4 reasons why we have support at this area. And over the next several days, we did come up. Now price is coming back down to test this wick area. And I believe that's what happened yesterday. On a smaller time frame, this may be scary. This is a daily chart. Each one of these candles represents 1 day's worth of time. And though I think we're seeing higher prices, up to $12, I don't believe it's going to be an easy battle getting up there. I believe price does need to take some steps first before we can really show those cards. But again, I believe the safest spots right here is below the golden line. However, if we take a look at the weekly chart view, and I turn every one of my candles to 1 week worth of time, that means each one of these is 1 week's worth of time, and I zoom out and I see a better picture, well, then I draw at these cores right here. See how I'm moving this candle right to the very core? Check this out. If we draw that core to the top of this run on the highest point here, then it gives me this point here. Now, this is on a weekly chart. So that means that if price comes up to that area, it's very possible it can either spike up and come right back down, or it could kiss the line and come down, or it can hard close above it, right at the line, and then we can come down. Another option is if we have enough strength in this move, we can actually break hard close above it and then come back down to that line and then come up. But as I saw and as I'm pointing out today, I believe this is going to be a major resistance level. How powerful will it be? Will it be enough to stop price? I don't think so. And the reason is because the last time we came up to this area, price spent time spiking above and coming back down. And then we spent another day spiking above and coming back down. We spent another day spiking above. And then finally, when we knew we were coming down, we also spiked above. Every time it spiked above, it was weakening this line a little bit, unless we were hard closing against it on a strong candle, which we did. So it was here, this candle, where we went hard right up and stopped right at that line. This is after a few days. Now this actually was the time when the candle was actually formed. But if I'm looking at the run down, it wasn't as long as maybe the first run was. The first run down was very long. Second run down was shorter, and we came right back up to that area. And so while I do expect trouble for price once we get up to that area, that level is $1.4844. So if you're marking your chart, so to speak, $1.4844 might be a spot you might want to draw on your prices. Now, this is a dynamic line, so as the weeks go by, it will actually change, but look at this line more as a range than anything else. Let's go back to the daily chart. As I've told you from my previous videos when we covered these supports, I really think that price is very strong because it had a chance to push against those lines like it did and come down. See how we almost hard closed next to that line and then, or just on it, and then we came up through it? It's possible that we can break through, and that's a sign of strength. But once we do break through, prices do need to come back and rest, and they rest on top of those lines that they broke through. So you can see that price was able to break through this white line, came back down to the white line, then it broke through and acknowledging the wick sat on top of this wick here. And that's where we're at for yesterday, and that's where we're at for today. But why did I draw this green arrow here? Why do I think this is another safe range? This golden line is safe again. Well, I'll show you. You'll see from my previous chart maps that I've added a few new arrows on this chart. This is RSI on the daily chart. After following price, we found a trend here in this area by connecting these lines. By drawing the sword cut, we found and identified this area. We also identified a very important time in price, and that was this line where the top arrow is, because that time was a big push down. But that push was not everything. If you'll notice, that push was actually kind of small compared to the next push. So which push is actually more important? This one right here. We mark that push on RSI right here, and it becomes a very important and critical level. If price ever comes back up to that level and sits on that level, we can expect price to bump up. But something I didn't mention in a previous video was that if the push was small, then the bump up would also be small. Where did that play out in price? Let's take a look. Small down movement and then back up. Down movement here. When did we come back to that line and rest on the line? When we came down here and acknowledged and sat on that line and came up. What was that point? That was a few days ago when I made my video called XRP Ready for Takeoff. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and take a look at that video. And I give you 4 reasons why that day I was expecting price to bounce from that area. But now, combining it with RSI, we see even more reasons on why that line was important. Right here. But again, small input, small output. So let's take a look and see if there was anything else telling us and where the big push would come in and where it should show up. I believe that push is here at the sword cut. Price came up, interrupted, came down, came up to the sword cut, and immediately came down. Price also reacted at that very moment. Let's take a look. At the exact moment that RSI came up and hit the sword cut and came down was the same moment that price had a very, very long drop from $1.56 XRP all the way down to 64 cents XRP before even coming back up. The lowest, 53 cents XRP. $1.60 down to 53 cents. Almost $1 in price. That's a very powerful point. So we mark it on price. Market on price is pretty easy. You can just take a line and you can draw right from there. Me, I draw from the sword cut because we are expecting that in advance using the sword method. But how does that play into the future? We now have 2 expected points, 1 and expected point 2. Using these techniques, I believe we can find even more trades and more time we're going to find price reacting to these lines or use them as confirmation tools. Let's look. At this point, price came up through the line and came down right to this point. When we have wide swings like this, it tells the whole world that we are expecting something. If it was just in the middles like this, it would not really count. But when you have a wide swing and price comes down slowly over time, or RSI comes down slowly over time, there's a greater chance of reversal at the expected point. We have an input with a known effect of sellers. Price is broken through the line of that known resistance level, and now it should act as a support level if price ever comes down. And it did come down. When did it come down? This is a daily chart. It came down yesterday. We have 15 minutes before this candle closes. Looking good so far. I think this is going to hold. If it does, this is a good chance for price to come back, for RSI to come back. And if RSI comes back, that means price should also come back if the trend is going up. And we do see the major trend being an uptrend. So it's more likely that price is going to continue once RSI comes on board. It seems more safer to me because Even though RSI was coming down, price didn't really come down at all. It just kind of consolidated. So if RSI goes back up and the trend is up, we know that price has a higher chance of going higher. When RSI went up last time, price immediately reacted. But when RSI came down, price didn't really react. That's a bullish sign. That's very sign that prices will stay higher. To me, that's very bullish. But wait, there's more. I got to show you something else. Take a look at this. Here's something you've probably never seen before. By drawing the curve on price, connecting to these points here, 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 I was able to phantom that line out, and look what I saw. Price also came up and is also on the top phantom of this curve. Bet you never seen that before. Keep it a secret. I believe that RSI will soon be going up, and with it, prices should be also rising. It would be great if we get a move straight up, but that doesn't always happen with price, even when it's strong and set up pretty well. I really believe that we're going to play this out into the future. Price may even break up and come through here. I believe we're going to, because we already have shown tremendous strength in breaking over the previous resistances. These ones, we broke through and came down. What's left? To curve and go up. It could take some days, but I love these setups. I love them. Like I said, I loved it last time. I really think that video when I made called XRP Ready for Takeoff, I really believe it was effective. If you want to watch it, go ahead and take a look through my video playlist. But now you know why I'm also very optimistic. But are there other dangers to look out for? Yes, especially if you're trading on a smaller time frame. Here's some things to look out for. This trend line here. Look at this one. It's very possible, since we're coming up to an intersecting point here, this line, that line that we have drawn, that price will come up to those points and either come back down or use those times as a window to push through if there was other reasons. But as it is, it's possible price can use this as a time to hit that line and come back down, which I think may happen. And we may come back down to that level as part of my predictions that I had put in the beginning of this video. If price rejects at that level, we'll begin to draw new cores. Maybe it will happen and price will come down to here on August 29th. Let me show you that again. If we were to connect these lines here, it's very possible price can come up and come back down to that gold line here on August 27th to August 29th, somewhere in this area. Once we come down to that area, it's possible price to go up and break and then use new supports. Just see that video in the chart. The chart map will actually be included as part of my membership. Before continuing, remember to hit the subscribe channel, and you can see and be notified when I post YouTube videos. Remember to subscribe. You can also go on my playlist and see different videos that we posted here, or read some of the funny comments. Amen. Thank you for reading the scriptures. God bless you and protect all that's yours. Thank you, Patrick. You can click on my playlist and go through different videos that I have here and learn how I draw. Also, sometimes I'll be posting dreams that people have about XRP and that are sending me. Also, you'll hear us reading the Bible, or reading the devotional, or reading some scriptures, and sharing that with you all, or sharing a positive message. Throughout the week, I post charts and I post screenshots throughout the day of XRP and different cryptocurrencies. You can find that link right here, patreon.com/jsong7. patreon.com/jsong_7. It'll bring you to my chart room. You'll be able to see my videos along with my chart notifications the moment that I post them. Also, some videos. I was feeling a little bit sick this morning, so I did include a letter. You'll be able to quickly go through all my posts here. I do a lot of XRP, but also some for other currencies. TEL, Dodge, Theta, ADA, Shiba, I do Bitcoin and other currencies as well. Sometimes I even send a private video. In the chart room, you'll also be able to comment. I also want to thank all the members for giving me prayers today because I wasn't feeling good at all. I was very sick this morning. Thank you. The other link you can do is click on here and come to our Telegram community room. Telegram is a free app you can download, and you'll find a lot of members here. We have 558 members in our Telegram community room. You can always join for free, and you can instantly see when I'm posting XRP updates. I do send them over to our community chart room. So if you're just following XRP, go ahead and click on those links. Sometimes I'll also post a Bitcoin chart too. It's nice to go and make a friend or learn some things from the community of like-minded people. All right, guys, take a look. The candle closed and a new candle is beginning. We did hard close underneath this point. Pretty close. So you may want to be aware of that. We'll conclude today's video by looking at the 4-hour chart. Here's that gold line again. It's a thin one, but nevertheless, it's powerful as well. The sword cut of this area is this gold line here. I'm going to mark that price. I'm going to make them small. They're not that important in the overall grand picture. The higher one at 122.05 and the other at 1.1807. So 1.22 and 1.18 cents. And this is where I see price this week. Will we be able to stay above the gold line? I think so. And in case you forgot where that gold line is, the big one, 1.0920. We got in a price just below that. Actually, I got in the last time, way back here, when I made my video, $120 XRP. It's this video at the top, part 1 and part 2. Overall, in the grand scheme of things, I think anything at these price ranges is great compared to $12 XRP. I believe we'll be seeing that $12 XRP before the end of the year. Preferably, I think, October. I'm going to use this time to answer one question that I have about logarithmic view. Why do I switch from logarithmic view instead of regular view? What is more powerful? Well, I just recently started using logarithmic view about a month ago, and I'm finding more and more often that it's very, very important. And the lines on there are actually more important than regular price view. What's the difference? Well, the scaling of price on a chart is very important. If the candles make sense, I can draw from them. However, there's some reasons on why it's more important. For example, if I'm trading price, so I'm going to use this time to explain a simple principle about why I use logarithmic view compared to regular view on price. That means when I click here on the right and I change from regular or I change to logarithmic, I've been noticing that logarithmic is very, very important because it's a proportional view of price rather than just going by the numbers. The numbers are important, but they're not as important as you think in the grand scheme of things. What's more important is the proportions and balance of the buying and selling. Let me kind of explain. If I buy a price of something of XRP at $1 and it moves 10 cents, that move is about 10%. If price moves to $1.10, we made about a 10% gain. If price was 10 cents and price moves up 10 cents to 20 cents, that's 100% gain. That's phenomenal. That's really good. If you bought XRP for 10 cents and it moves to $1, you made about nine times your money. That's phenomenal. However, when buyers are coming into the market at $90 and price moves 10 cents, that move is minuscule and may not accurately represent the actions of buying and selling. You'll have waves of people that bought at 10 cents because they didn't have any other choice. And when price moved 10%, that was phenomenal. You had all the emotions and buying of the buyers and all of the sellers, and they're embedded in those candlesticks. And when you understand the emotions that go behind the candlesticks and what moves the markets, you can understand that 10 cents in one particular area of a chart will have a tremendous impact compared to 10 cents. Once we're at a very high level, it may not have the same impact. And yet those same buyers and sellers are experiencing those same motions into the future and needing to exit and enter or buy and sell later in the future. Well, normally that's all told within price. But if I had a regular view of price, this is what I see. And so the people who are buying here at, again, 10 cents, it doesn't accurately reflect any of the moves into the future. It almost just looks like it's nonsense, and it is. But if we turn on the view to logarithmic view, then from here I can see a lot more healthy, balanced view of price. And from here I can extract some data. I can see things that I never saw before. Points that might be important in the future, such as a sword cut. Here's one, and we weren't even really trying. I just turned on this view right away. What did we see? We saw that that was a very important point in price here. Keeping a logarithmic view is going to help you keep a much more balanced view of price, such as drawing parabolics. When price came up and came to this parabolic and rested on there, support. In regular view, we would have never saw these things. They don't show up. It also made it possible for us to calculate up to $120 XRP. And if you didn't see that video, go back and watch it. You can see how that we can see on the table there's up to $120 available. I'm not saying price will go all the way that high. I think we may actually get to about 99 and then maybe come down, but there's up to $120 that is on the table. Will it all be tradable? If we get some signals up there, yes. Is it a good time to take profit? Maybe not. Maybe not. It depends on how quickly we're getting to the crypto winter, and we're going to have to be in prayer about those things. I believe the time is coming when price will actually crash and have a very big crash. And I believe that all the current prices of many cryptos will all fall, and only a few will really survive the crypto winter. I believe XRP will stay down and come back down all the way under $1, back to around 30, 25, 50 cents. Anything under $1 would be fantastic prices, but it's going to be a terrible drop. We believe this is going to be called the crypto winter. We have Prophet Robin from Fireside Grace. He's going to be coming on our channel next week. So be looking for a special video as he'll be our guest, meeting Melody and I. We're going to have a great time with him and his wife, and we'll have a nice time. We get him for about 45 minutes. People have been asking him a lot of questions from the prophetic community, and so we'll be glad to be able to interview him. Overall, I think XRP is looking still very healthy. As those days come, once we get into those upper areas, I'll be posting more of my trades and when I'm taking some profits and where my limit orders will be in as price falls, because I believe that it will stay very low for just a very small window of time. It may be less than one day that it falls and comes right back up. On the charts, it may just look like a massive spike, but we don't know yet. We'll have to find out as those days near. During that time, the XRP will be activated for its utility function as working the interoperable on-demand liquidity interledger program. It will be connecting the financial systems of the world together. It already does. It's just not as promoted as you may have heard from mainstream media. Oftentimes they call it a Ripple coin or the on-demand liquidity coin, or they'll talk about XRP like it doesn't have a utility. And yet for those who just are willing to do some homework on XRP, you'll see the massive importance of XRP. It's not just a cryptocurrency. It is going to be a technology that will lead the way and change the world and change how finances are settled and money and transactions are settled into the future. Before we close out today's video, I want to share with you a very special devotional shared with us to our Telegram group by a minister who hails from Singapore. His name is Milton Go. Have a listen. This one is called prospered after a night of lockdown. Exodus 12:22-23. It says, "You shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two doorposts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out of the door of his house until the morning. For Yahweh will pass through to strike the Egyptians. And when he sees the blood of the lintel on your two doorposts, Yahweh will pass over the door and will not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to strike you." In Egypt, the children of Israel were commanded by Yahweh God to be on lockdown in their homes and to take shelter from a final plague. Sound familiar? Wasn't the front door that protected them from the last plague? It wasn't the front door that protected them from the last plague, but the blood of the Passover lamb applied to the doorpost and the lintel, forming a Hebrew letter Tav, T-A-V, which represents a cross. When the destroyer swept through the land of Egypt, the firstborn children and animals of the Egyptians died, but the children of Israel were unharmed because of the blood. Dear brethren, be wise, stay at home in this season, but without fear. The bunch of hyssop, which the children of Israel used to apply the blood of the Lamb, is a bigger picture of our tongue. When we believe and we declare that by the shed blood of Jesus, we are under God's protection from plagues and pestilences, we will experience it. Protection won't happen by default. You have to apply the blood on the doors of your heart, and it will happen through faith. Do you know what happened after the plague had passed? The children of Israel were chased out of Egypt in a hurry because the Egyptians were fearful of them. The Egyptians were urgent with the people to send them out of the land in haste, for they said, "We are all dead men." The people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading troughs being bound up in their clothes and on their shoulders. The children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they asked the Egyptians jewels of silver, jewels of gold, and clothing. Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they let them have what they asked. They plundered the Egyptians. Exodus chapter 12:33-36. They plundered the Egyptians and came out of Egypt with silver and gold. Having no salary for hundreds of years, they were repaid and restored suddenly in one night. Later on, the children of Israel used gold to build the tabernacle to worship God. Speaking prophetically about our times, after that word, lockdown, the wealth of the Egyptians, the world, the Gentiles, will be transferred into the hands of God's covenant people, the Church of Jesus Christ. Amen. For the world, it's a recession, but God's children will see the wealth of the nations added to them. This is for those who have faith. Remember that any one of the children of Israel who didn't apply the blood of the Lamb on their doorposts and the lintel ended up with a dead firstborn child. God gave favor to the children of Israel so that the Egyptians gave the children of Israel what they asked. If you don't ask, you will walk out of this pandemic with no increase. Those who have a revelation of this will ask boldly and receive in abundance. How much will you ask for when you know that the answer will be always be yes and okay? Personally, I'd like to take as much as I can on my way out of Egypt, loading them on carts and wagons with animals pulling them. The financial enrichment will happen by God granting us favor. We will be prosperous for a purpose. Just like the children of Israel used the silver and gold to build a place of worship unto God, we will be enriched so that the gospel of Jesus Christ will be sponsored to go further and faster than ever before. Don't be one of those who say they don't need to prosper or that it's not in God's will to prosper his people. Forgive me for being so blunt, but that's self-centered, unbiblical, and lazy thinking. This is not about you. It's about the growth of God's kingdom. Receive in abundance for Jesus' sake, and give all the extra money away to fund evangelism efforts if you don't need it. The increase in wealth is not for you in your own hoarding purposes. Use your wealth to be a blessing to others and to show God's heart of love. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. There will arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land of Egypt. The famine will consume the land, and the plenty will not be known in the land by reason of that famine which follows, for it will be very grievous. The dream was double to Pharaoh, because of the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. Genesis 41, 29 through 32. Either last year or the year before, as I was studying the book of Genesis, the Holy Spirit opened my understanding to see the prophetic meaning of the passage above. It is about Pharaoh's dream in the end times. The 7 years of plenty represent the 7 years before the rapture, and the 7 years of famine afterwards represent the 7 years of the tribulation for the world. Before the Lord returns, it will be a time of great prosperity and blessedness that ends upon the church's departure from this world. It's kind of like what I always say, I believe we're going to be going out with a shout. God's kingdom is going to expand at an unprecedented speed. Are you ready for the great outpouring of God's blessings before Jesus returns to receive his church? Make sure you position yourself to receive in abundance. I believe God showed me a clear sign to confirm what I knew inside. The financial vehicle by which this wealth transfer will happen, besides physical gold and silver, which are always good to have, includes cryptocurrencies. Be led by the Lord. I believe he will show you how to position yourself to receive abundantly during this great end time wealth transfer. Thank you very much, Milton. If you're interested more, he has many good books that he's written. One called Messiah's Miracle, The Power of Having Faith in Jesus Christ, Understanding the Four Gospels Through the Lens of Grace. You can find more information about Milton. I'll put a link of it in the description below. The website is www.miltongo.net. That's MILTONGOH.net. You can also find his latest book on Amazon.com. Just click on the link of the picture. Friends, thank you for joining me today. Remember to put your faith and trust in Jesus Christ. He loves you. He'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. No matter how many times you let him down, he'll never let you down. He's always welcoming you with open arms. I'm finding that more and more throughout the years. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. He's the best love you can ever really get in this whole world. Friends, God bless you. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May he look upon you with favor and be abounding to you in grace. May he lift up his countenance towards you, and may he give you peace. Thanks, friends. In Jesus' name, amen. I'll see you next time.